Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to look at my Tama Club Jam kit, which I have owned since June 2023. It's an affordable, compact set of drums, very light and transportable, and is ideal for compact gigs where loading is difficult. At time of filming in February 2024, this setup costs £400 in the UK. We will look at what you get in this kit in terms of drums and hardware. We will explore the build quality, ease of setup, teardown, ease of transportation, and discuss the good and bad points. We'll talk about how it holds up on a gig in the real world and how it sounds on small and large events. We will also talk about any compromises you have to make as a trade-off for the compactness and affordability. So, join me as without further ado, we dive into it. This configuration is the standard Club Jam setup. There are other configurations, all available on the Tama website, with smaller or different drums. But in my setup, we have the 18 by 12 inch kick drum, the 13 by 5 snare, the 10 by 7 rack tom, 14 by 7 floor tom, and the kit comes bundled with the rack tom holder that goes on the bass drum, 3 floor tom legs, and the bass drum mounted cymbal arm. I also have added the Tama Classic Hardware pack, and if you click in the corner you can see a link to my other review of this. And I also added a set of matching bags from the Tama website, tailor-made for this kit, which I will review separately. But this is a 3-bag setup which contains all 4 drums, so very convenient. So, when I first got the kit home, the first thing I did was to check it all out, beginning with removing all the heads, as the one supplies are very cheap and thin. I put a Power Stroke 3 from Remo, a clear one, on the bass drum, Evans Clear G2s on the batters of both toms, and an Evans UV1 on the snare. For the rezos on the toms, I swapped the original Tama batter heads, and the snare rezo is the standard rezo that came with it. While the heads were off, I checked out all the fixings, the tightness of the lugs and the mounts, etc. And I found that, in fact, most of the bolts and lugs, whilst well oiled, needed considerable tightening. It was basically quite badly put together. So whether this is just my example or generally that the assembly isn't great, who knows? However, once I'd tightened everything, it was all fine. Nothing was to the point of falling apart, but it definitely needed sorting. I will say now that it's held up perfectly since then. Once I've tightened everything up, it was fine. But overall, I think the whole thing feels very light and quite cheap, if I'm honest. That said, I suppose for what you get, it is quite affordable. The shells are quite cheaply made, but they're perfectly round, I suppose, and the hardware all feels very light. But I guess that is also a benefit, because actually what we're after here is a lightweight, portable, easily transportable set of drums. But it certainly doesn't have the weighty feel and the heft and the solidity of more expensive kits. Again, in practice though, and in real world use over several months and several gigs, everything has held up fine. I will say the bass drum legs are very good, the tom holder is very solid, and the cymbal mount for the bass drum is also very stable. I've added memory locks to the spurs and the cymbal mount, but there's really no need for this actually. Now, once I've changed the heads, I found it very easy and quick to set up, all in a small footprint, especially considering that the kick is only 12 inches deep. The rack tom holder is super secure, and the cymbal mount is also rock solid. This was a slight concern of mine, but it has held my 20-inch ride with zero issues, and it's fully stable under all levels of playing. I do crash on my ride as well, and to be honest with you, it's never moved. It's great actually, because this means that there's one less extra stand needed if you want to use other cymbals. My first actual use was straight into a gig, and I have to say it sounds very decent with the new heads. It tunes up fairly easily and sounds good under microphones. Acoustically, the kick is punchy, given its size, but it mics up and sounds big, like any other kick would. I have a small amount of damping in mine, just a towel and a piece of foam, and I've added a port, but this is only for miking, and so that I can actually put a microphone inside the bass drum and rest it on the foam if space is an issue. It really sounds nice. Obviously, none of the set is as loud as larger drums, but this is often a good thing. To be honest, at smaller venues and smaller events, you don't always want to be loud. At 13 inches, the snare is very, very nice. It's punchy, it has a nice wooden pop to it, and it fits in to every environment that I've used it, from pop through to light jazz, function gigs, and indie/rock. It's fine, really nice. I would say The only problem, or the only compromise one might make with the drums, other than the size of the kit, would be the floor tom. The floor tom is only 7 inches deep. Now, of course, this is around half or less even than the depth of most standard floor toms. So although it's 14 inches wide, the 7-inch depth really is a compromise in terms of the heft you can get out of the drum. It won't go particularly deep, and it certainly could never be described as anything near thundering. So overall, in the real world, it performs really well. So let's have a look at the positives and negatives. On the positive side, this kit is sold as a solution where the drummer needs a light and portable setup. And it is very light and portable, especially with the extra bags that you can buy. It's very easy to carry and load in, very easy to set up, and fits in a very compact space, even with extra cymbal stands. Everything's very stable, and it sounds good with new heads and mics up very well. It's not a loud sound, but it's punchy and clear and musical. When mic'd up, I've had it in larger venues with big PAs, and to be honest, it sounds massive, just like any of the kit will, mic'd up. So I found it very good for rehearsals and all types of gigs. It's very convenient, fits easily in the car, so nothing not to like, really. On the negative side, the heads are cheap. Definitely need to change them for professional use, and the assembly left a bit to be desired. But once I've tightened everything up, nothing's moved. It's rock solid. The floor tom is too shallow if you want a deep sound, and the whole thing is a little bit quiet. But these compromises are probably to be expected. It's not expensive. As I say, it's £400 at the time of filming in early 2024. Right, so that's a brief look at all the kit that we've got. I haven't done a studio-based sound test of this, but I will just pop in here a clip of it unmiked, just in my teaching room, just so you can get a feel for what it sounds like, just in the room, just with my phone mic. And I think you'll agree that it doesn't actually sound half bad, certainly more than usable. So, in general, I really like this kit and I would recommend it. It's perfect for smaller stages and tricky load-ins and quiet gigs, for examples, smaller functions or weddings and so on. It's also perfectly usable on larger gigs if mic'd up. For me, it will always be a complement to my other gear and my main kit, which is a Tama Classic Walnut and Birch kit, which is in a total different league in all respects, from sound to build quality and pretty much everything else. But we have to remember that that kit is 4 times the price of this little Tama, so it's really kind of to be expected. I recommend this little Tama Club Jam, bearing in mind you might have to tighten a few bolts when you get it and accept that it is built to a price. Mine has held up to many gigs, so I'm sure it will be fine for many more to come, but I'm just being honest on these basic compromises. But listen, it's a perfectly good kit, it works perfectly well, and it's very, very easy to transport and use. Pair it with the bags and the classic hardware, and you have a strong recommendation from me. Right, so that's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you have, please like the video, and please subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more such content in the very near future. So just remains for me to say thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers for now. Bye.